Welcome to UND Sports Extra. I'm your host, Dan Hammer. On tonight's show, the North Dakota women's basketball team sees its trek toward defending the Big Sky postseason tournament championship end, but also sees its season extended. Athletic Director Brian Faison joins us tonight to talk about cost of attendance and possible changes in the look of regional NCAA hockey tournaments. Also in tonight's program, Mark MacMillan and his first interview since his season-ending injury. Well, the North Dakota women's basketball team faced Northern Colorado last week in the opening round of the Big Sky tournament. North Dakota carried the number 6 seed into the tournament and was looking to defend its tournament championship and get back to the big dance. However, it was 1-0 for North Dakota at the Big Sky tournament in Missoula. Let's check out the highlights. North Dakota and Northern Colorado just 4 days after the two teams closed out the regular season in Grand Forks. Leah Zabla pops away for 3. It would be a preview of the type of day UND had behind the three-point line. Then Maya Lloyd going to work inside. A physical finish at the basket by Lloyd, and North Dakota led early by 1. Megan Lauk had a strong first half for North Dakota. Nobody better offensively than Lauk in the opening first half. This basket here as she cuts to the hoop and then goes to the floor. But it was a big day for Northern Colorado's Stephanie Lee. A game-high 24 points for Lee. Little turnaround jumper here in the paint. But then Lauk went on a personal 8-0 run late in the first half as UND would cut a 10-point deficit. Lauk from the corner for 3. Then Lauk will score again, this time off the dribble. And when Lauk would hit another 3, UND had cut the deficit down to 4. UND trailed 37-33 at the half, 13 first half points from Megan Lauk. In the second half, Michaela Dyer going to work for UND. Dyer will dial up a 3 here. This would be a tight game for pretty much the opening 10 minutes of the second half. Dyer then drives and follows her own miss. She was one of 5 UND players in double figures on the day. This game went down to the final 4 minutes. About 4 minutes left to play. Suri Burke with a three-pointer. UND is within 3. North Dakota made 8 of 15 three-pointers. 38 seconds left. Another 3. This time Dyer launching from way outside. UND gets within 3. But then Northern Colorado got a couple of stops late. And here, Kylie Heiser finishes off the UNC win off the North Dakota miss. This layup finished the deal with 9 seconds left, and North Dakota falls to Northern Colorado 72-64. Lloyd, Lauk, Dyer, Burke, and Evers all in double figures for North Dakota. But the season does not end for UND. On Sunday, North Dakota accepted an invitational to the Women's Basketball Invitational. North Dakota will play New Mexico in the first round of the WBI. That game in Albuquerque on Wednesday night. Coming up next on UND Sports Extra, Athletic Director Brian Faison.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back to UND Sports Extra, a chance to chat with the Athletic Director, Brian Faison, joining us. Brian, thank you for your time. Spring is sprung. Teams competing in the postseason yet? Fun time of the year, isn't it?
It is a fun time, and it's great to have teams, as we seem to have every year, competing postseason play. That's always a special treat on top. And with the weather and the way some of our spring sports have been out there and swinging bats and getting some things done early, it's looking to be fun.
Yeah. One of the items that is continually on your desk these days, as with every athletic director, is cost of attendance. First of all, give our viewers a brief definition of cost of attendance.
Kind of like it sounds. It's that additional margin of cost of attendance at an institution, and it varies by institution, that a student would assume it's travel to and from home, it's additional school supplies. It could be a lot of different things. It's a situation where the institution determines that amount, and it's applicable in some federal issues with grants and aid. So it's an established thing. Changes every year to some extent as things will change on campus. But I think we're going to call it something different here. But I haven't been told exactly what we're going to call it here. But that's us. We always have our own terminology. But
right.
It'll be an interesting challenge across the country over the course of the next year to see how programs roll this out. everybody was hell bent to get this thing going and everything, and then they suddenly discovered that, well, maybe we need to take a little bit of a time out here and make sure we understand exactly where this fits, how does this go. And I'm always kind of amused that particularly from the Power 5 conferences, I don't think there's a lot of trust at times. So now there's some things that people want to be sure they can confirm and go from there. And I think you've seen, interestingly enough, in terms of some of these costs, like travel to away competition for family when you're in postseason play, the NCAA has now started to open up the door. You saw that with the BCS championship game, with additional stipends for families for travel to the bowl game. I think you're going to start. I think that's happening for the Final Five this year in basketball. I think you'll see that by naturally extend to some extent to the other championships in coming years. It's not that way right now, but I think it'll happen.
Initially, it will apply to North Dakota when we talk about the men's hockey program. How do you see that working, and how soon will the rubber hit the road?
That's an institutional decision, but our commitment is to make sure that we protect the men's hockey program. And because the Big Ten schools are going to take on cost of attendance, and they're going to do it for all their sports, which includes hockey. On the men's and the women's side, we had to take a quick look at this and make sure that our coaches were not going to be, shortchanged in terms of their ability to go out and recruit the best of the best. So that means we're going to have to step up in terms of that particular thing on cost of attendance.
Do you see that changing the landscape of college hockey at all? With some being able to do that, others choosing not to do it or not being able to do it?
I think over time it could. I don't know how much price checking athletes do. I think if you want to come to North Dakota, it's because you know your best opportunity to move on and play at the next level and get a great education is here.
Sure.
And that's not just an advertisement, that's the truth. So how much factor will that be for us? I don't know, but I think it will be a factor. Does that separate you out from some of the other schools in your league and other schools in Division I hockey? We're already kind of separated in some instances in that way. So I don't know, Dan, that necessarily makes it more or less. I think it just is going to be what it is.
And how soon do you see this being implemented?
Next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
So the rubber is meeting the road.
It is definitely meeting the road.
All
yes,
right.
sir.
You recently became chairman of the NCAA Hockey Committee. What, in your opinion, are the big issues facing college hockey as we move toward the offseason?
Well, I think the biggest issue for the committee is going to, besides some of the minor things that come out of the championships, is going to have to do with the championship format itself. And
It's been highly debated.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were under mandate from the championship committee. Instead of going 4 years on awarding bids for regional sites this last summer, 2 years ago, to only go 2 years out. So next year is already addressed, but the next 2 years in the cycle are not. And there'll be strong consideration. We'll talk to the American Hockey Coaches Association in Florida at their annual meeting, and then we'll have our meeting in June, and we'll make a determination on format and then take it to the championships committee. But I think there'll be a strong movement, and I'm certainly very much in favor of going home ice for the first round. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can do that, but I am definitely in favor of home ice.
You'll push for that as chairman.
Absolutely. And that's been my stance before I came on the committee, having gone to the first couple of years, and you're playing in half empty or more than half empty facilities, and then you see some of the games on TV too. Hockey's a sport that needs to be played in an environment where it just feeds off itself. And there's an excitement about it that you just can't match if you're in the right situation.
Right.
And I know there was some concern from smaller schools. Most of the schools that play hockey on the men's side tend to be smaller programs nationally. And there was some concern, the big guys are going to be able to dominate and those kinds of things. But if you look at the pairwise, you look at the top 8 or the top 4, there's plenty of diversity in terms of the kinds of programs that you're looking at there.
Brian, thanks for your time. You're off to Minneapolis and the Frozen face-off this week.
Absolutely.
And then to, not to count ahead, but to Fargo for the NCAA Regional, West Regional,
sir.
in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir.
Will be exciting for your fan base
It will
as well.
be. You bet.
All right, Brian, good chatting with you. We're back with more next year on UND Sports Extra.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
The men's hockey team is off to the Frozen face-off this weekend without one of its top scorers. It's been a little more than 2 weeks since Mark MacMillan lost his season with an injury. We want to share with you Mark's first interview that he did with us last Saturday night during North Dakota's NCHC playoff game with Colorado College. As many of you saw 2 weeks ago last night, Mark unfortunately lost his senior season and his college career to an injury against St. Cloud State. Mark, good chatting with you. Thanks for your time. How you doing?
I'm all right. Obviously not the easiest thing to deal with. It's been a bit of struggle mentally, but making progress every day and starting to move around a little better and stuff, and obviously coming to the rink as much as I can and seeing the guys practice, and obviously getting to come watch them play. And big win last night, and got to keep pushing forward for another win tonight.
It must be excruciating difficult to have to watch this team, especially at this point of your career.
Yeah, obviously not easy for any player, but my senior year, and obviously not quite the way I expected my senior night to go, and for to happen like this and not be able to play down the stretch. Obviously this is a hockey player's favorite time of the year, coming to playoffs and searching for a national championship here. But saying that, I'm still obviously a big part of the team, and going to do whatever I can here off the ice, helping out the young guys or whatever, or the older guys to still be a part of it, and the goals don't change, and we're still going to try our best here to win the national championship.
You are still a very strong leader of this hockey team. Mark, let's look back at what happened 2 weeks ago last night against St. Cloud State when you were killing off a 5-on-3 St. Cloud State power play, and blocking a Johnny Brodzinski shot led to the injury.
Yeah, obviously 5-on-3, it's obviously a big part of hockey to kill those penalties off, and a big part of 5-on-3 is trying to block shots. And unfortunately, I got in front of a guy that's got one of the hardest shots in college hockey, I think, and just kind of hit me the wrong way. And
took it right off the kneecap, right?
Yeah, right off the kneecap. So tough to watch for sure.
You actually came back out and tried going again.
Yeah, well, hockey players never like to get off the ice and stuff like that, but I just went and sat back on the chair for a little bit, kind of behind our bench, and said, it hurts a little bit, but I think I'll be okay. It's just like anything, you block a shot, you get a little bruise, you go back out and play. So I thought that's all it was, and tried to get back out there and put some weight on it, and said, no, better turn around and go see what's going on.
Yeah. Mark, you've had surgery. How you doing, and what is your prognosis here as you look at the short term and the long term?
Yeah, surgery went well. The doctors did a great job and said it went about as good as it could have, so that was obviously good to hear. And I'm starting to move around a little bit on it right now, and starting to do a little bit of rehab to try and get some movement back in my knee and stuff like that. It obviously tightened up being in the breaks for a couple weeks, so just doing what I can to move forward and taking it day by day, and hopefully getting better sooner than later, obviously.
As we take a look at some highlights, I mean, so many good memories. Can you still, from time to time, focus on the good memories despite this challenge that you're now facing?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously my time here has been unforgettable, and I haven't looked too much back on it too much right now. I don't think it's really set in kind of the situation I'm in, but like I said, I'm just trying to take it day by day, and the season's not over for the team, so it's not over for me either. So I'm gonna do what I can to be as big a part of the team as I can going down the stretch, and like I said, our goal is still to win a national championship, and I'm gonna do what I can to help the boys do that.
Well, Mark, let me just say it's been a pleasure covering your career. What would you like to say to the UND audience out there that has followed you the last 4 years and that still cares for you very much?
Yeah, I think I could be here till the next intermission going over and over, how grateful all the guys are for the fans and all the support we get from the school and from the community and from the state and all across the nation. And I think the thing you hear over and over again is, we got the best fans in the country, and there's no denying that in our home attendance and on the road. We always hear about, in Denver, we got more fans than Denver does, and other places too. And thank you is not even close to enough to express our gratitude towards the fans, and what they do for us makes us who we are. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have such a special place to play.
Mark, thank you for the time, and we wish you the best.
Thank you.
MacMillan's character, of course, on display in a number of ways. He's a finalist for the prestigious Hockey Humanitarian Award, the first ever finalist from the University of North Dakota. He's also a finalist for the Senior Class Award. Coming up next on UND Sports Extra, tennis player Callie Ronkowski and one of our own crew members here on Midco Sports Network.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Callie Ronkowski came to North Dakota as the highest-rated prep tennis player in program history. But the transition to college and an injury has slowed her accomplishments at the collegiate level. And yet this season she's rebounded, her best season since the injury. Greg Ankers with the story.
When Callie Ronkowski joined UND Tennis as a freshman, she became the highest-rated prep player ever to sign with the program. She helped North Dakota powerhouse Grand Forks Red River to 7 straight state championships in high school, but the transition to the college ranks did not come without its challenges.
It was a big transition going from there to a Division I level where every match was a hard match and there's no easy walkovers. And I think the hardest part was just the mental part of knowing you had to be ready every single day and staying stable even when you weren't just getting wins constantly.
What really makes a good tennis player is what's, you know, that old saying, it isn't the size of the dog in a fight, it's the amount of fight in the dog. And Callie's got a lot of fight in her, and that's something that, you know, how do you instill that?
But after finishing a respectable 27-17 as a singles and doubles player her freshman season, Ronkowski's on-court battles took a turn away from the game. She would be forced to sit out her sophomore campaign following shoulder surgery, but a determined player, getting back in the game became a top priority.
I took that time and just really looked at the big picture of things and rehabbed, of course. So it was hard to get back physically, but mentally it was a really good break for me. And I feel like I came back with a totally new sense of everything and a complete new competitive edge.
Her dedication paid off. Ronkowski struggled in her first season back from the injury, but she emerged to have her best year last season, winning all Big Sky honors, a first for the UND program at the Division I level.
That's one of the goals, was to set new standards for UND tennis when I was coming in, so that was a big deal for me. I wanted to be able to be a leader in that type of a way and kind of set the bar for future players and help to build the program.
She's always here early. She's always on the court hitting. Like when I walk in, I'm like, oh man, like I got to be like that too. She's always here ahead, like either running on the track or working out or doing just doing extra stuff. I guess that's really like positive, and it rubs off on me because like, oh, I want to be like that. She really sets a standard, and she wants all of us as a team to reach that.
And as Ronkowski rounds out her senior year this season, the impact she had coming into the program is sure to continue to be a strength for years to come following her departure.
And she's serving up aces in the classroom. She's already earned her degree in entrepreneurship. She's pursuing her master's in business administration. And she says after college, she would love to continue teaching the game of tennis. Well, many of you may not know Marv Lied by name, but if I tell you, have you ever seen the guy at ice level at a UND men's hockey game holding a camera between the North Dakota bench and the visitors bench? You'd probably say, oh yeah, that guy. Well, Marv has been a longtime crew member of Midco Sports Network, and here's a look at his passion for his game and his hobby.
Ask someone to describe an office, and they can do it easily. 4 walls, a desk, some windows if you're lucky. By those standards, Marv Lied's office at the University of North Dakota Television Center is pretty standard.
You know what, to be honest, I don't know if I didn't do television, I don't really know what I would do.
It's not long after poking your head inside his office that his true passion is revealed.
Hockey's my love. I love hockey. You can't beat it. It's just an adrenaline rush. It's the most awesome thing in the world.
A UND grad himself, it was here where Marv's 2 loves were forged.
So now working at UND and shooting hockey games at UND, it's like a dream.
And it's a dream he gets to live out twice a week from a cramped 3x5 foot gap between the player benches. And while he loves his job, he admits it's taxing.
I never feel like I'm really working, though I am, and it is physically tough and demanding. At least once a year I have to go and get my back snapped into place by the chiropractor.
Marv dodges pucks, sticks, and even stray limbs while on the job. And once a protective glass pane was removed for player safety reasons, he had to rethink more than just his equipment.
I didn't start wearing them, but when I was wearing more pads to protect myself from the action, then that's when I decided I better
So it's
wear
almost
jerseys.
a hide, to hide the pads so you look tougher, huh?
Kind of, in some ways. They do make me look pretty thick around here. I don't know if I like that or not. But students will tell me, yeah, people talk about your jerseys all the time, and it's become this thing, and I never ever expected it was going to become this thing.
It's always interesting to see what he has on any given night. It's always different.
Even though Marv has 30 jerseys of his own, he often has help choosing one for that night's game. Coaches, refs, and even color commentators have been known to bring him unique jerseys. Not bad for a guy just doing what he enjoys most.
It's video and it's hockey. Two of my favorite things. So when I go to those games, I love it.
Marv is an avid hockey fan as well. He and some buddies make an annual trip to the Frozen Four, regardless if North Dakota is participating. We're back with some final thoughts next.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Coming up next week, you'll meet freshman sprinter Natasha Brown. The young lady from Edmonton is already rewriting UND's record books. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for North Dakota Hockey with Dave Haxton.